Hello there. My name is Chris Fernandez. I'm a solutions engineer with Keysight Technologies. Today, I'm just going to go over how to run a quick test using the web GUI that is located on the chassis itself. So, just for context here, I have a chassis that is Ares 1 with two ports. There are QSF PDD and two ports for SFP, and I'm going to be doing a quick test on it. So the ports are back to back. So I actually have a already saved configuration in here that I'm going to be using. And on purpose, I'm going to have to remap the ports. So in the case here, you can see that there's already a session open here for AutoQ, which is what I'm using for my automation itself. So when I run through the automation, you see what I mean, and we can stop and look at it as you go. But the first thing that the automation will do, since I am the only one using this box, the first thing I will do is to clean up. So if there is any auto queue sessions on that's already running in there, so this is what this code here does. It's the cleanup for any other session that's already there. So it just goes in there. It does authentication to get the REST configuration done, and then REST configuration authenticated, so you don't have to pass it in all the time, the username and password. In terms of ports, I'm going to be using two that I'm going to be considering as source ports. So those two ports, 4.1 and 4.2, and 1.1 and 1.2. So if you want to look at what my chassis looks like, let me just duplicate this here, and we can go over and take a look. What are those ports actually mean before it goes there. So the things that you have to pass in terms of variables are the IP address of the chassis itself and where the session. So you know that I'm running the session on the chassis, so that those IP addresses here are the same. And then the username and password for this chassis itself, and the config file for the quick test. The quick test is not as it doesn't have many configurations that you can apply. So, but there's some stuff that I already did. So I already kind of picked all the tests that I want to execute on my quick test. So my packet sizes and which test itself I want to do, and then I saved it as a baseline test here. Going back here to the chassis for you to see the ports itself. And in terms of this takeover, true here is that if anybody else is using those ports, I'll take them over. And this is the variable to say that any other configuration that is running that has that name, I'll clean it up. If I'm the only one using or running this automation, I know to clean it up, something that's called auto queue here, which is what I do in my automation here. So let's just start the automation itself. The first thing I will do, I'll stop right here where it's doing the cleanup. So let me start this configuration here, and then we go from there. So hopefully it will work live. So this is a live environment. So here I have, as you can see here, ports for 1 and for 2 are already being used by the automation that is running on the background there. And the ports that you can see here, so this port here is configured in 2x400 PIM4. And this port here is also in the same 2x400. And this port here is actually running the same thing, 2x400. So there is a one single transceiver here splitting into two ports. So I'm going to be using this as my source and this as my destination. It's just for classification when you're looking at the auto test itself. So if you look at the quick test and how it works, we have this concept of source and destination. So right now I have those two ports already there. So that's why I put source here and destination here. And as you can see, I have the editor here. So in this port here, I am actually running 1.1 and 2.1 as my source. So by default, I'm trying to remap it so you know what is going on. Like when I'm doing the automation itself, I'm using the ports 41 and 42 as a source, so those ports here should be remapped to the default configuration, to the saved configuration here. So I'm going to leave that up, and I'm going to actually get out of this here. I don't want to be inside of this session because I plan to actually kill the session, right? So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start the configuration. I'm going to start my automation here so we can follow up and see how it goes, right? So I'm just going to do debug on QuickTest, which is this test here. So I'll make this this configuration available, or this file available, so you can follow in. So it's going to start right here. It's going to create a session. As you can see here, I have a session that's active there, and it's before my test even starts. It goes in there and look for any sessions that are already open. Finds the session that is already there. It's 34, which is this session here. As you can see here, session ID 34. So we found it, and if the name matches the auto configuration that I do, I'll clean it up. So I'll do the S remove, which is going to remove. As you can see here in the background, it's removing that session before any test continues, and then I'll start my execution of my tests, right? So this is right in the beginning of the test case here. So if you look over my step one here, it's checking and then purging old sessions, which I already did. So I'm just going to continue, and then we can follow along. This step here is just another connection, so it's actually create a new session. As soon as I do this here, you're going to see a new session being created here. And that's what it does right here. It's a type of QuickTest. It uses the IP address of the chassis and the username and password. And it creates a new session that is being created right here. You see starting session here, and my script here is waiting for that to come back. So it did. You see it highlighted here. So we can keep going. So all it's doing right here is just renaming the session for a new name to get unique names here. So this test is already executed here, but we don't see it here because of the browser. The browser did not get reset. So if you go in here and now and you actually clean it up or refresh that page, you're going to see that it got changed the name to this here, auto Q May 29th, 11:39. So that's when I'm executing this. And after this, changing the name of the session, all it does, it's just going to go and load the file. So it's going to load a configuration file here. That's what it's doing here. It's just loading a configuration file or a saved configuration file for the QuickTest that already did. So after this load here, we can actually go in to the files itself and see what it's changing. So this is what it did. So we created the session, rename it, and loaded a configuration for it that I have saved. So I'm going to go in there just to show you what it's doing on the background, like what the script is actually doing. As you can see here, the loads configuration here has ports, but ports 1.1 and 1.2 are now my source, right? So you can see here are my source, and the destination is the other side is 4.1 and 4.2. And in my script, I decided that I wanted to flip that out. So that's what I did here. That's part of my initialization here. So I'm going to keep going. So what this test does now, it's going to go in and change the ports. So it's going to look for the ports that are part of the session already, and make sure that the ports that I've defined it in my script here matches the same number of ports that I defined it over there, so I can remap it. So that's what it's doing here. And in this case, ports number 4, they're all the same. So it's not going to do anything on this here. So it's going to skip this part. And now it's doing the remapping. So this portion of the code here, it's actually doing the remapping based on the name. So the first thing I do here, I pick up the first port, and I grab that as my source port 1. I change the name, and then I go in there and I kind of replace it with the name that I just changed to, making sure that this is the remapping that is done based on the name. Like if the name did not match when I do this mapping here, what it'll do, it will add additional port to it. So this naming here is important, and you make sure that the port gets remapped and not an additional port gets created. So this is what this code here is doing. And after this code is done, it will connect, meaning that it's going to bring in the ports into the session. That's what this connect here is doing. After that, I'm going to stop right here. So I'm going to stop right here. So after it does the remapping here, so it's validated remap, and it's going to map the ports to the session, and it's going to come out. So that's what it did. We can go back now here to this session here that is now my session, and look at this here. So let's make sure that this got remapped. And then when I look at here now, I can see that my ports 4 and 4.1 and 4.2 are now my source and not my destination. And my destination ports are 1.1 and 1.2. So it got remapped correctly. Now let's go back to the automation here. So the automation here now it does is, in the case there is a layer 3 protocols, which in this case I do not have. My configuration here does not have an IP layer. It's only an Ethernet layer. So this here is going to skip. This is in case where you have like a IP stack and you want to ARP and make sure that everything comes up, that the ARP works. That means that your cables are correctly, right? So in my case here where I have this split cable, that my port 4.1 is matching the port 1.1 on the other side, and 4.2 is matching ports 2.1. If you get that reversed and you have an IP stack, you will see that right away because you will not match to the expectation of the test. The expectation of the test is that he's running a test that is 1-to-1. So the configuration here is 1-to-1. I think it's over here somewhere. Transmit. Let me see here. So this is the configuration that I have, 64 byte packets. Where do I do the 1-to-1? There's a place here where I specified the test to 1-to-1. Now let me continue. Continue my automation here so I don't take too long. So in this case here, did not find any before any stacks, so you will see this as false. It's just looking for the topologies in there, and the topology doesn't have any layer 3. So it's going to continue and it's going to quit, and it's not going to do anything here. So this is in case that we had a IP stack and everything worked. So this is going to continue here. And then there's now it's just grabbing the code for, or the reference, the handle for the QuickTest itself. And it's over here. It's going to replace the name, just to have a name here. QuickTest 1, the name for that you give it to your QuickTest, and then it will. And this portion here is to reattach the traffic. So we have to regenerate the traffic because we changed the ports around. We remapped them, and so we have to regenerate the traffic and apply the traffic again. And at this point here, everything is going to be running. So I'm just going to step through this code here really quick. It's going to do the regeneration. It's going to apply the traffic to the session, and then it's actually going to start. It's going to clear the stats. It's going to apply the quick test, and it's going to start. So this here is going to start and look at the initialization process. As you can see here, what it's doing. So now the test is starting on my side here. And after this point here, all I have to do is just kind of monitor for the progress of the test. So in my case here, I only have 3 packet sizes and it's back to back, so it should be pretty quick. I'll let it run for a little bit here, and it starts. You can see here sending learning frames and so on. Those are things that got configured inside of my base configuration or my template. At this point here, we're just going to look for this quick progress here. So this is what it's doing. So it's sending 64 byte packet at 100% line rate and waiting 20 seconds. And it's going to be doing this for 3 packet sizes, 64, and whatever I configured in here, 64, 1024, and 1580. So it's just doing that. As you can see here, the test is running. I can look at the statistics at the same time as my automation is going through. Um, and after the automation is done, all I do, I just grab the results and I put them into a folder into the same directory that I'm running this automation from. And then the test gets finished and cleaned up, and then we can look at whatever results got dumped into my folder here. So I'll let the test run, and then we can come back when the test finishes. Okay, at this point here, the test finished. The execution got complete, and now we're gonna just grab the results. So we're just gonna grab the results and download everything to my folder. So this is what this code here does. It's going to generate a PDF report and put it into my folder. And then it's just part of cleaning up. So that's part of cleaning up. It's going to remove the session. And that's what it's doing here. So I should lose this window here. If I go like this, my web, that session should be gone by now. So it's tearing down the session. And it should be the automation, the folder, excuse me. So the folder gets created inside of the same place where my automation is. It's under QuickTest results here. And I can see that, let's see here, it's QuickTest results. And the report got generated 11:48, so it was just a minute ago. And you can see here, just be careful that this folder here, I edit the way that it uses the same name, so it doesn't generate a bunch of folders. So if you want to keep the file as a unique name, you have to change the automation for that. But after that, it generates the report here, and then you have the aggregation results, the interaction results. So those are all Excel files that got populated for each test case here. And it gives you more information if you need to have latency numbers and so on. You can grab it from the stats um, that got saved into your folder too. So, and this is the PDF that got created here. As you can see, the speed, the ports that I used, and so on. And you can use that for your summary statistics. So anyway, I just want to go over a quick automation, and I'll put everything here, the files that I used, and everything into my GitHub, and it should work as soon as you. So I'm gonna go in here to my GitHub, and I'll sign in. And I'm gonna put it into in my YouTube videos over here. That's where I usually put all my automation and stuff that I do for to show how automation works. Okay, so feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.